Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the starship Liberty and watched the massive alien ships surrounding them. The Galactic Council had made their decision and there was no going back. 300 human ships floated in space while the alien leaders decided their fate. Jake could see the fear in the eyes of his crew, but he kept his face calm. Admiral Lisa Grant walked to the communication panel and opened a channel to all the alien ships. Her voice was steady when she spoke. To the Council representatives. You have called us here to judge humanity for crimes we do not understand. You say we are too dangerous to live among civilized species. You say our nature makes us a threat to galactic peace. The lead alien voice came through the speakers with a cold tone. Humans have shown themselves to be violent and unpredictable. Your species fights wars over resources that could be shared. You destroy your own planet and then look to the stars for new worlds to ruin. The Council has voted and the decision is final. Humanity must leave civilized space and never return. Jake felt his hands shake with anger, but he controlled himself. Behind him, the bridge crew worked quietly at their stations. They had families on the ships around them. Children who had never seen Earth because it was already dying when they left. Now those children would grow up in exile because the aliens feared what humans might do. Dr. Kevin Walsh came to stand beside Jake and whispered, "The deep space sensors show clear routes beyond the galactic rim. We can survive out there if we work together." Jake nodded but said nothing. He was thinking about his daughter Sarah, who was only 8 years old and sleeping in her cabin below. Admiral Grant continued speaking to the Council. "Very well. We accept your judgment even though we believe it is wrong. But remember this day when you look to the empty space beyond your borders. Remember that you sent away the only species that ever fought extinction and won. You fear our strength, but you do not understand it comes from protecting what we love." The alien voice replied with no emotion. "You have one solar day to gather your people and leave Council space. Any human ship found in our territory after that time will be destroyed. The hyperspace routes to your destination will be sealed. Behind you, there will be no return." Jake watched the alien ships move away from the human fleet. 300 ships carrying the last million humans in the galaxy. They had come so far from the dying Earth only to be cast out again. But humans were good at surviving impossible things. The next hours passed quickly as the fleet prepared for the long journey. Captain Sam Rodriguez brought his cargo ship alongside the Liberty to transfer supplies. His face was grim when he appeared. On the screen, "We have enough food and water for 2 years if we ration carefully. The colony ships have the equipment we need to build new homes, but we need to find the right planets." Engineer Tony Martinez called from the engine room with better news. "The new fusion drives are working perfectly. We can travel faster than any Council ship and we have fuel for decades. Whatever we find out there, we can reach it." Dr. Walsh gathered his science team in the main laboratory. These were the best minds humanity had left, and they would need every bit of knowledge to survive. "We are going into unexplored space," he told them. "The aliens have maps of the galaxy, but they never went beyond the rim. We will be the first to see what lies in the darkness between spiral arms." Young scientist Amy Foster raised her hand. "The readings from our long-range sensors show star systems out there. Some of them have planets that might support life. If we can adapt our technology, we might find worlds even better than what the Council species have." Jake called a meeting of all ship captains in the Liberty's main conference room. The holographic display showed their route into exile. Beyond the galactic rim lay empty space dotted with isolated star systems. "We are not refugees," Jake told them. "We are explorers heading into a new frontier. Our children will grow up free from alien rules and alien fears." Captain Julie Adams of the colony ship New Hope spoke up. "My ship carries 10,000 colonists. In suspended sleep, they trusted us to find them a new home. We cannot let them down." The other captains nodded in agreement. They had a responsibility to every human life in the fleet. The final day in Council space arrived too quickly. Admiral Grant gave the order, and the human fleet engaged their drives. One by one, the ships disappeared into hyperspace, heading for the unknown. Jake was the last to leave, taking one final look at the space they were abandoning. As the Liberty jumped to hyperspace, Jake thought about what lay ahead. The aliens believed they had solved a problem by sending humans away. They thought exile would destroy the human spirit and make them fade into history. But humans had survived ice ages and asteroid impacts and the death of their homeworld. Dr. Walsh came to the bridge, carrying data tablets filled with information. "I have been studying the sensor readings from our destination," he said. "There are resources out there the Council never imagined. Worlds with unique properties that could make us stronger than ever before." Jake smiled for the first time since. "The trial began, then we will build something new. Something the galaxy has never seen. When our children are grown, they will be citizens of a human empire that spans the stars. The aliens fear our strength now, but they have no idea what we can become when we have no choice but to succeed." The hyperspace journey would take weeks, but Jake was not worried. Humans were at their best when facing impossible odds. They had been cast out and forgotten, but they would return someday. And when they did, the galaxy would never be the same. 200 years had passed since the exile, and Commander Ryan Brooks stood on the observation deck of the orbital station above New Terra. The planet below was nothing like Earth had been. The gravity was twice as strong, and the atmosphere burned the lungs of anyone who tried to breathe it without protection. But humans lived there now, and they had made it home. Ryan was the great-grandson of one of the original exiles, and he had never seen Council space. His people had built an empire in the darkness beyond the galactic rim, and they were stronger than any human who had come before. The harsh worlds had forged them into something new. General Amy Foster called Ryan to the command center, where holographic displays showed the extent of human territory. Red dots marked colonies on worlds that would kill most alien species. "We now control 800 star systems," she told him. "Every planet we settle makes us harder to kill." The transformation had not been easy. The first generation of exiles had died building the foundations of what would become the human colonial empire. They had learned to survive on worlds with crushing gravity and poisonous air. Their children had been born stronger, and their grandchildren stronger still. Engineer Tony Martinez worked in the deep laboratories beneath New Terra's surface, where the real advances happened. His team had spent decades studying the unique properties of rim space. Here the laws of physics worked differently, and technologies impossible in Council space became routine. "Look at this," Tony said as he showed Ryan the new fusion reactors. They were the size of briefcases, but generated more power than the massive plants the Council used. "We can draw energy directly from stellar phenomena. Black holes become power sources, and neutron stars become factories." Captain Sam Rodriguez had become an explorer of the deep void between galaxies. His ship, the Wanderer, could operate in gravitational fields that would crush Council vessels. "There are things out here the aliens never imagined," he reported during his latest mission. "Ancient ruins from civilizations that ruled the galaxy before the Council species even learned to make fire. The discovery of the precursor ruins had changed everything." Dr. Kevin Walsh led the archaeological teams that studied the alien technology. These ancients had built machines that lasted millions of years and left behind knowledge that made human science look primitive. "They were like us," Kevin explained to the colony leaders. "They were explorers and builders who pushed the boundaries of what was possible. But something destroyed them completely. We need to learn what happened so we can avoid their fate." The precursor technology integrated perfectly with human engineering. Weapons that could crack planets and ships that move faster than light without using hyperspace. Defensive systems that could stop stellar explosions, and computers that thought at the speed of quantum interactions. Amy Foster had revolutionized human military doctrine based on these discoveries. "Other species fight wars," she explained to her officers. "Humans fight extinction events and win. We train for scenarios that would destroy entire civilizations because that is what makes us human." The military academies on the fortress worlds produced soldiers unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. They could fight in the hearts of stars and survive the crushing depths of gas giant atmospheres. Their weapons drew power from the fundamental forces of the universe. Ryan visited the training facilities on Ironworld where young humans learned to be warriors. The planet had 5 times Earth's gravity and an atmosphere of liquid methane. The recruits moved through the toxic environment like they were born to it, because in many ways they were. My grandfather could not have survived 5 minutes on this world, Ryan told the trainees. But you were born here, and this hell is your playground. You are what humanity becomes when it has no choice but to evolve or die. The colonization fleets under Sam Rodriguez had spread human settlements throughout the outer spiral arms. Each new world presented unique challenges that forced innovation. Planets orbiting binary stars where radiation would sterilize council. Species, worlds so cold that carbon dioxide fell as snow. Ocean planets with crushing pressure in their deepest trenches. Humans adapted to all of them. They built cities in the cores of gas giants and mining stations on the surfaces of neutron stars. They learned to harvest energy from black holes and grow food in environments that were pure poison to other life forms. Tony Martinez perfected terraforming technology that could transform dead rocks into garden worlds in decades instead of centuries. But more often humans simply adapted themselves to the hostile environments. Genetic modification and cybernetic enhancement became as common as changing clothes. The younger generation was something new entirely. They could process information at computer speeds and survive in environments that would instantly kill their ancestors. Their reflexes were faster than machine responses, and their minds could handle multiple complex tasks simultaneously. Dr. Walsh studied the changes in human physiology and found that the exile had triggered evolutionary pressure unlike anything in species history. We are becoming something the galaxy has never seen, he wrote in his reports. A civilization that thrives in conditions other species consider impossible. The trade networks between human colonies carried goods and technologies that defied understanding. Metals that remained solid at the temperatures found in stellar cores. Crystals that could store the energy output of entire stars. Biological computers grown from organisms that lived in the vacuum of space. Amy Foster established the Colonial Defense Force as more than just a military organization. They were explorers and scientists as well as warriors. Their ships could fight entire alien fleets or conduct archaeological expeditions in the ruins of dead civilizations. Ryan took command of the newest exploration vessel, the Defiant, and prepared for the longest journey yet attempted. His mission was to scout the approaches to Council space and assess how much the aliens had changed during the centuries of separation. "We are ready to make contact again," he reported to the Colonial Assembly. "But we return not as the refugees they cast out, but as the masters of half the galaxy." The aliens feared our potential, but they could never have imagined what we actually became. The human empire now spanned 3 spiral arms and controlled resources beyond the dreams of the Galactic Council. They had built something magnificent in their exile, and they were ready to show it to the species that had tried to destroy them. The return would begin soon, and the galaxy would learn what humanity had become in the darkness between the stars. Commander Steve Parker of the Zephyrian Border Fleet received the first distress signal on a routine patrol near the Rim territories. His crystalline ship Bright Star moved through space with the grace that marked all Zephyrian vessels, but the readings on his instruments made no sense. 3 patrol ships had vanished without explanation in the past month. Steve studied the debris field where the patrol ship Crystal Wing had been destroyed. The energy signatures were unlike anything in Council databases. The metal showed signs of weapons that used stellar fire as ammunition, and the hull breaches suggested impacts from projectiles moving at impossible speeds. "Send word to High Command," Steve told his communications officer. "Something new is operating in the Rim sectors. The weapon signatures do not match any known Council technology, and the attack patterns suggest a military force with capabilities beyond our understanding." Back on the Zephyrian homeworld, the news created panic among the Crystal Assembly. For 2 centuries, the Rim territories had been quiet, empty space marked as forbidden by ancient treaties. Now, something was moving in that darkness and destroying their ships with casual ease. Ambassador Helen Clark guided her ship Freedom's Edge through the hyperspace barriers that had sealed human space for 3 centuries. The massive vessel moved with impossible grace despite its size. Behind her followed a fleet of human ships unlike anything the galaxy had ever seen. The Council had expected crude refugee vessels if humans ever returned. Instead, they found sleek predators that seemed to bend space around them. The ships drew power from the vacuum itself and moved through dimensions the aliens could not perceive. Helen opened a communication channel to the Council's emergency assembly. Her image appeared in their chambers as a calm, middle-aged woman wearing the blue uniform of the human colonial empire. Honored members of the Galactic Council, I am Ambassador Helen Clark, representing the human colonial empire. We request an audience to discuss our return to civilized space. The council chamber erupted in chaos as representatives tried to process what they were seeing. Humans had not only survived their exile but returned with technology that made council science look primitive. The species they had cast out as dangerous refugees now commanded power beyond their comprehension. Admiral Chris Bennett brought the main human fleet out of hyperspace around the council's capital world of Unity. 5,000 ships materialized in perfect formation, blocking out the stars with their numbers. Each vessel was larger than anything in council fleets and bristled with weapons that could crack planets. "We come in peace," Helen announced calmly while the alien leaders stared at displays, showing human ships surrounding their most important world. "But we come from a position of strength. We have built an empire spanning 5,000 star systems, and our territory extends across 3 spiral arms." The economic implications hit the Council faster than the military ones. Human technology was centuries ahead of anything aliens possessed. Their ships could travel between galaxies while Council vessels struggled with interstellar distances. Their weapons could destroy stars while alien militaries relied on crude fusion bombs. Captain Julie Adams handled the diplomatic protocols as human delegations made contact with individual Council species. The Vorthan Empire tried to maintain dignity while negotiating with beings they had once considered primitive refugees. The Nexari Collective struggled to process the reality of human advancement through their shared consciousness. The younger generation of aliens had never heard of humans and could not understand their elders' fear. To them, humans were simply the most advanced civilization in the galaxy. They wanted to learn human technologies and study human achievements without the baggage of ancient prejudices. Steve Parker found himself assigned as liaison to the human delegation in Zephyrian space. He tried to maintain professional composure while touring human ships that violated everything he understood about physics. Their engines drew power from black holes, light years away, and their computers thought faster than Zephyrian crystal networks. "Your people adapt quickly," Helen told Steve during a formal dinner aboard Freedom's Edge. "We have watched Council space during our exile, and we know which species have grown and which have stagnated. The Zephyrians have maintained their curiosity about the universe, and that serves you well." Dr. Susan Miller led the scientific exchange programs that began almost immediately. Human researchers shared medical technology that could regrow entire limbs in hours, engineering advances that allowed construction of structures inside stellar cores, agricultural methods that could grow food in the vacuum of space. The revelation that humans controlled precursor ruins sent shockwaves through Council archaeological communities. Dr. Miller showed them artifacts millions of years old that still functioned perfectly. Computers that contained the accumulated knowledge of a civilization that had ruled the galaxy before the current species evolved. "The ancients were builders like us," Susan explained to fascinated alien scientists. "They pushed the boundaries of what was possible and left behind wonders we are still learning to understand. But something destroyed them completely, and we believe that threat may return someday." Colonel Pete Johnson established military exchange programs that transformed Council understanding of warfare. Human soldiers could fight in environments that would instantly kill alien troops. Their weapons systems integrated seamlessly with the fundamental forces of the universe. The demonstrations were carefully controlled but devastating. Human fighters destroyed target asteroids with weapons that focused stellar energy into beams of pure destruction. Their defensive systems created barriers that could stop supernova explosions while maintaining breathable atmosphere inside. Some Council species attempted to form secret alliances against humanity, but engineer Carol Williams had anticipated this possibility. Human intelligence networks built over centuries of isolation had infiltrated every major government. They knew about hostile plans before the aliens made final decisions. "We do not wish to rule you," Helen explained to the emergency council session. "We learned during our exile that true strength comes from cooperation, not domination. But we will not allow anyone to threaten human colonies or human citizens ever again." The power dynamic had completely reversed from the ancient exile. Now, aliens sought human protection from threats they could not handle alone. Pirates who had terrorized shipping lanes for generations found themselves facing human patrol fleets that could track them across galactic distances. Admiral Bennett established human naval bases in strategic locations throughout Council space. The bases provided protection for alien shipping and served as deterrents. Against regional conflicts that had plagued the galaxy for centuries, trade agreements began forming as alien governments realized the benefits of human partnership. Human fusion reactors could power entire civilizations while taking up minimal space. Human agricultural technology could end famines that had lasted for generations. The council species that had voted for human exile now found themselves dependent on human goodwill for their continued prosperity. The irony was not lost on anyone, but humans showed no interest in revenge or domination. "We return not as conquerors, but as equals," Helen declared during the treaty signing ceremonies. "The galaxy cast us out in fear, but we come back in friendship. Together we can build something greater than any single species could achieve alone." The formal recognition of the human colonial empire as the dominant galactic power marked the end of one age and the beginning of another. The species that had been banished and forgotten now held the fate of the galaxy in their hands, and they chose to use that power wisely. President Maria Santos stood before the assembled Galactic Council in the Great Chamber on Unity. The alien representatives sat in their traditional seats while human delegates occupied places of honor that had been hastily constructed. The balance of power in the galaxy had shifted forever, and everyone present knew it. 300 years ago you judged humanity unfit for civilized space, Maria began with calm authority. You feared our nature and cast us into exile believing we would fade into history. You were wrong about us then, and your fear has cost you dearly. The economic transformation had begun immediately after first contact. Human corporations offered technologies that revolutionized entire industries overnight. Admiral Nick Thompson demonstrated fusion reactors small enough to hold in one hand that could power cities for centuries without refueling. Your civilizations have stagnated during our absence, Maria continued while alien leaders shifted uncomfortably in their seats. You have spent 3 centuries fighting the same wars and solving the same problems while we built an empire that spans half the galaxy. The medical advances alone would have transformed council space beyond recognition, Dr. Susan Miller showed. Recordings of human hospitals where missing limbs regrew in hours and genetic diseases were corrected with simple injections. Aging could be reversed and lifespans extended far beyond what any council species had achieved. Captain Julie Adams managed the diplomatic corps that negotiated individual treaties with each alien government. The terms were generous but clearly established human superiority in all technological and military matters. The aliens had no choice but to accept whatever arrangements humans offered. We offer you partnership, Maria explained to the council session, but it will be partnership between unequals. You cast us out when we were weak refugees fleeing a dying world. We return as masters of technologies you cannot comprehend, commanding fleets you cannot match. The intelligence revelations sent shockwaves through every alien government. Colonel Pete Johnson revealed that human agents had infiltrated council space decades earlier. They had observed alien civilizations from within and prepared detailed reports on every species' capabilities and weaknesses. Your security systems are primitive compared to human capabilities, Pete explained during classified briefings with alien military leaders. We have agents in your governments, your military commands, and your scientific institutions. Nothing you have planned has escaped our attention. The younger generation of aliens embraced human technology and culture with enthusiasm that worried their elders. Students at alien universities abandoned traditional studies to learn human sciences. Artists created works inspired by human achievements that had no parallel in their own histories. Engineer Carroll Williams established technology transfer programs that would reshape alien civilizations over the coming generations. Human computers that thought at quantum speeds. Manufacturing systems that could build anything from raw atomic matter. Communication networks that operated faster than light. Without relying on hyperspace, the transformation was not entirely voluntary. Some council species attempted to resist human influence through economic boycotts and military alliances. These efforts collapsed when human corporations demonstrated their ability to manipulate galactic markets at will. You have two choices, Maria told the emergency council session after the Vorthan Empire attempted to organize resistance. You can accept human leadership and benefit from our protection and technology. Or you can maintain your independence and face the consequences of isolation in a galaxy we now control. The consequences were swift and decisive. The Vorthan resistance collapsed when human ships blocked all hyperspace routes to their territory. Cut off from galactic trade and facing economic collapse, the proud empire capitulated within weeks. Admiral Chris Bennett established the new military hierarchy that would govern galactic defense. Human officers commanded mixed fleets while alien crews learned to operate technology beyond their previous understanding. The old council military forces became auxiliaries to human power. The cultural impact went beyond politics and economics. Human entertainment media flooded alien networks, showing them worlds and possibilities they had never imagined. Human music and art celebrated themes of exploration and achievement that resonated with younger aliens tired of their species. Stagnation. Dr. Miller's scientific exchange programs revealed the full extent of human advancement. Aliens who had considered themselves masters of physics discovered that humans routinely violated what they thought were universal laws. Space and time bent to human will through technologies that seemed like magic. We have learned to harness forces that destroyed the precursor civilization, Miller explained to amazed alien scientists. Dark energy becomes our fuel and quantum mechanics serves our engineering. We build with the fundamental forces of the universe as our tools. The revelation that ancient enemies might return from deep space added urgency to the new galactic order. Human archaeologists had found evidence in precursor ruins that the civilization had been destroyed by invaders from outside the galaxy. These destroyers might return someday, and only human technology could provide adequate defense. You need us more than you realize, Maria told the council during the final negotiation sessions. The threats that face this galaxy are beyond your ability to handle. The precursors learned this too late, but we have time to prepare if we work together. The formation of joint research institutes marked the beginning of true cooperation between humans and aliens. But the projects were clearly human-led, with alien participation limited to areas where their unique perspectives added value. The master-student relationship was obvious to everyone involved. Captain Sam Rodriguez commanded the new exploration fleets that pushed into previously unknown regions of the galaxy. These expeditions included alien crew members who learned human methods of deep space exploration. They discovered wonders and dangers that no single species could have handled alone. The economic integration proceeded rapidly as alien governments realized they had no choice but to accept human terms. Trade agreements that heavily favored human interests. Technology licenses that gave humans control over alien industrial development. Military treaties that made alien forces dependent on human support. We do not seek to dominate you, Maria explained during the signing of the new galactic accords, but we will not allow the mistakes of the past to be repeated. The galaxy cast us out in fear and nearly doomed itself to stagnation. Under human guidance, all species will have the opportunity to grow and achieve their potential. The council chamber where the accords were signed had been completely restructured. Human technology replaced alien systems and human guards provided security alongside alien forces. The symbolism was clear to everyone present. The old Galactic Council was dissolved and replaced with the Galactic Federation under human leadership. Alien species maintained internal autonomy, but external policies required human approval. The new order would prevent the wars and conflicts that had plagued council space for millennia. Maria's final address to the assembled delegates marked the end of the old galaxy and the beginning of a new age. "You feared us because we were different," she said with quiet authority. "You tried to destroy us through exile, but instead created something far greater than what you destroyed. Welcome to the age of human ascendancy." Admiral Dan Cooper stood before the first graduating class of the Joint Military Academy on New Mars. Human and alien cadets stood together, in perfect formation, wearing the blue uniforms that marked them as officers of the Galactic Federation Defense Force. The ceremony marked a new chapter in galactic history. "You represent the future of this galaxy," Dan told the assembled graduates. "Human and alien working together to protect all civilized worlds from threats both known and unknown. The old divisions that led to war and exile are behind us now." The Academy had become a symbol of human leadership in the new galactic order. Young aliens competed fiercely for admission, knowing that graduation guaranteed positions of authority in their home militaries. But they learned quickly that human methods of warfare were unlike anything their species had developed. Dr. Susan Miller watched the cultural exchange programs transform alien societies in ways their governments had never anticipated. Human ideas about individual achievement and exploration challenged traditional alien values based on stability and conformity. The younger generation embraced change while their elders struggled to maintain old ways. "We are not trying to make aliens into humans," Susan explained to concerned alien leaders. "But we are showing them possibilities they never considered." Growth requires change, and change requires courage to abandon comfortable limitations. The scientific advances continued at a pace that amazed even human researchers. Joint projects combining human technology with alien perspectives produced innovations neither species could have achieved alone. Zephyrian crystal networks enhanced human quantum computers, while human engineering made Vorthan biotechnology more versatile. Captain Alex Turner commanded the border patrol fleets that protected Federation space from external threats. His ships combined human weapons with alien sensor arrays, creating defensive systems more effective than anything previously imagined. The galaxy had never been more secure from invasion or piracy. The old council spent centuries fighting each other. Alex reported during strategic planning sessions. "We have eliminated internal conflicts and can focus our resources on real threats from outside known space. Unity makes us stronger than the sum of our parts." The economic prosperity that followed human integration exceeded everyone's expectations. Alien worlds that had struggled with resource shortages for generations now enjoyed abundance through human terraforming and mining technologies. Entire civilizations advanced centuries in mere decades. Engineer Tony Martinez led the massive infrastructure projects that connected human and alien territories through improved hyperspace networks. Travel that once took months now required only days, while communication delays that had plagued diplomacy became memories of a simpler time. The revelation of the ancient threat added urgency to Federation military preparations. Human archaeologists continued studying precursor ruins, and their findings painted a disturbing picture of enemies from dark space who had destroyed civilizations across multiple galaxies. The precursors were more advanced than current human technology, Dr. Miller reported to the Federation Security Council. But they faced enemies with capabilities we can barely comprehend. If those destroyers return, we need every advantage possible to survive the encounter. The joint research programs focused on understanding precursor defensive systems and adapting them for modern use. Human engineers worked with alien scientists to build weapons that could function on galactic scales and shields that could protect entire star systems from attack. Young alien officers, trained alongside humans in scenarios that would have been impossible under the old Council system. They learned to coordinate fleets across multiple star systems and plan strategies for threats that could destroy entire civilizations. The training was harsh but necessary. Captain Julie Adams established diplomatic protocols for contact with species beyond Federation borders. The galaxy contained hundreds of civilizations that had never joined the Council, and first contact procedures needed updating for the new technological realities. We approach unknown species from a position of strength, Julie explained to her diplomatic corps. But we offer partnership rather than conquest. The galaxy is large enough for many different civilizations if they can learn to coexist peacefully. The cultural transformation accelerated as human entertainment and art spread throughout alien societies. Stories of exploration and achievement inspired young aliens to pursue careers their ancestors would never have considered. Scientific research, space exploration, and military service became prestigious occupations. Admiral Bennett coordinated the massive military exercises that tested Federation readiness for external threats. Human ships worked seamlessly with alien vessels in maneuvers that spanned multiple star systems. The combined fleets could respond to crises anywhere in the galaxy within days. The detection of the first ancient enemy scouts in dark space between galaxies confirmed humanity's worst fears. The destroyers that had eliminated the precursor civilization were returning, and they possessed technology that made current Federation capabilities look primitive. They have been traveling between galaxies for millions of years, reported Captain Sam Rodriguez after his deep space reconnaissance mission. Their ships are larger than space stations, and their weapons can destabilize stars. We have perhaps 50 years before they reach Federation space. The emergency mobilization that followed changed everything about galactic society. Every resource was dedicated to building defenses that could stop enemies who had destroyed civilizations. Across the universe, human leadership became absolute as alien governments recognized their complete dependence on human protection. President Maria Santos addressed the combined population of the galaxy through broadcasts that reached every inhabited world. The threat we face is beyond anything any single species could handle alone. But together we represent the accumulated knowledge and strength of 1,000 worlds. We will not go quietly into extinction. The massive construction projects that followed dwarfed anything previously attempted. Fortress worlds with planetary shields and weapon systems that drew power from stellar cores. Fleets of ships designed specifically for combat against enemies with godlike technology. Warning networks that could detect threats from outside the galaxy. Dr. Miller's research teams worked frantically to understand precursor weapons that had failed to stop the ancient destroyers. The technology was incredibly advanced, but still insufficient against enemies who had conquered multiple galaxies. New innovations would be required for survival. The younger generation of humans and aliens who had grown up together became the leaders of the new defensive effort. They commanded mixed crews with casual efficiency that amazed their elders and planned strategies that combined human aggression with alien precision. "This is who we are," Maria declared during the final preparations for war. "The species that was cast out for being too dangerous has become the guardian of galactic civilization. We do not fight for conquest or glory, but for the right of all beings to exist free from tyranny." The first battles with ancient enemy scouts proved that Federation forces could compete against superior technology through superior tactics and determination. Human crews fought with the desperation of a species that had faced extinction while alien allies provided support and resources. "You cast us out to die in the darkness between stars," Maria said in her final address to the old council chambers that had become a Federation memorial. "Instead, we found light there and brought it back to share with you. This is who we are, who we have always been. Not destroyers, but builders. Not conquerors, but liberators. We are human, and that is enough." The galaxy would never be the same. Humanity had returned from exile not as the refugees who were banished, but as the saviors of civilization itself. The species that had been feared for their dangerous nature became the protectors who stood between order and chaos. In the end, human strength came not from their weapons or technology, but from their refusal to surrender when faced with impossible odds.